Leading beyond ego, empowering teams for true success. The leader who looked beyond the mountains. Let me share two stories. When I was 12, my family, along with 10 or 15 other families, we fled from war. Walking in the dark mountains. At night, it felt very strange and heavy. But we left the war searching for safety, of course. And there is something with the cries and screams of babies echoing through the valleys of the mountains, carried with cold air because it was the middle of winter. Every sound was just loud, reminding me of the struggle every step we had left. We faced a long journey across those mountains, a journey that would take 4 days. We did not know how long it will take at the start, but it turned out to be 4 days to destination, to safety. Walking through these harsh, snow-covered terrains, the war had just started, so knowing how far we have to flee exactly was very difficult. And of course, we did not know when we are coming back, or if we are coming back. But soon he reached us, that man, Shahin, a man who was alone, without a family, but who became our guide, our leader. He knew the mountains well enough, like he had like a map in his head. I would never forget him. Shahin was tall and sturdy, with a small backpack and a telescope always with him, a telescope. To us, he was the head of the group, giving warmth and strength. Despite the cold, he always smiled, no matter how tough the journey got. Whether he was just like carrying a baby from a tired mother, bending down to help an elderly with like his shoes or something, Shahin was always shown through his actions and calm words. And he was everywhere. I felt like there were many of him. Sometimes he would walk at the back of the group, making sure that no one was just left behind. At other times he would move to front, leading us through the toughest stretches of this journey, offering comfort with every step, making sure we kept going when we felt like giving up, because there were some people just sitting down and just crying and giving up. And those words from him: there are no uphill climbs without downhills. His belief in the group, in our collective strength, kept us moving forward. At night, he used to tell stories about the destination. We kids, we gathered around him and we talked about the kind of candies. I remember we asked him how much candy can we eat when we are at destination. He always smiled and said, enough for all of us. And he talked about play. The kids played in that destination in safety, and the rules for each play and how they played. And he let us imagine. Also, Shahin never said how long we had left, but always talked about the closest mountain, which way we are going, and what to be ready for. Every time someone asked him, when are we in the destination, or how far we have left, he used to say, one mountain at a time. We first have to take this mountain. We rest on the top. There is a small cave there. We make fire there. It will be wonderful. We will see the view, and you will love it, making the journey beautiful. I remember every time during our breaks, while everyone sat down to rest, Shahin would climb to like very high point and stand alone, his telescope like pressed to his eye, scanning the vast snow-covered landscape ahead. I would watch him, fascinated. To me, to me the telescope was like magic, a way to see further than anyone else could. But when he lowered the telescope, his gaze was still fixed on something far beyond the mountains. You know, when you think deep and you see far through mountains, his eyes would wander deep in thoughts, and he mumbled something under his breath. Always, I remember saying, one mountain at a time, like whispering almost, believing in the destination. I would ask him what he saw and if I could like now maybe borrow the telescope, and he would say nothing. Still focused and deep thoughts, as if he like saw even further than the telescope itself. But like after that, like waking from a dream, he would notice me standing beside him, waiting, and that smile. And without saying a word, he handed me the telescope. I would take it fast, trying to catch a glimpse of what he saw. He would always guide me, helping me understand the view. One time, he asked me what I want to be when I grow up. An engineer, I said. Shahin smiled. You will be a great one. You like telescopes. Always keep looking ahead. That small, simple comment stuck with me like for years. It was the first time someone truly believed in me who was not my parents. Someone who didn't know my background or where I was from, but simply saw my potential, where I was going. There are no uphill climbs without downhill slopes. He used to say, for every difficult climb, there will eventually be an easier downhill to follow. It's a reminder that hard times are often temporary and lead to better moments. I think about it every day. On the last day of our journey, with only few hours left to reach safety, Shahin called us together. He explains the final path of the journey, and the adults, now ready to take over, thanked him for everything. Shahin, with his usual calm, said goodbye, but he stood there for a while, looking at me as if he knew I wanted to say something. I wanted so much to thank him, but I was too young. You know, I thought thanks were for adults. So I was quiet and did not dare to say anything, and forever regret not thanking the first true leader I had seen. But not for his leadership, but believing in me, and maybe that defines leadership. The group stood like there, a little bit uncertain now, a bit like not so sure about the journey, but powerful, since Shahin had given the group, the adults and everyone, the confidence to lead and follow the path. Yes, we felt like overwhelming sense of like fear and confusion without his presence, but everyone knew that exactly what they needed to do. Without him, babies cried a little bit more, man talked a little bit louder, mothers were stressed a little bit more. We walked slower. Even the mountains felt higher. But he believed in us. and had empowered us to collectively be stronger. We believed in him more than we believed in the destination. He became our destination, our vision. His leadership didn't just guide us through the mountains, but it changed us. Shahin taught me that leadership isn't just about leading from front, it's about being there for your team, no matter where they are. It's about lifting them up, even when can't see the way ahead. It's about making each one the leader of themselves. And that's the kind of leader I always strive today to be. One who helps others see their potential and empower them to grow. Shahin, a quiet, humble man with a telescope and a heart full of care, will always be the leader I look up to. I just wish I could thank him.
Why about a long journey to seek for safety through the mountains?
Many years forward now. I have graduated as an engineer. I fled my home country as a refugee. I have a degree now and navigating through the world. I live in Sweden. I don't exactly look or sound like an average Swede. My background, my name, my accent, everything about me stood out. The idea of working at a big company, surrounded by people who didn't share my background, felt like impossible, to be honest. When I was interviewed for a job after university, I walked in a room full of people, most of them native Swedes, and I felt like out of place, honestly. I did not think I would get the job, and part of me felt I didn't deserve it. But then I met let's call him Eric, who will become my new manager, the new leader. He saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself at that time. He believed in me as someone who could bring value to the team. Later, I actually learned that he had fought hard to make my hiring possible. When Eric was around the project, everything was going well. We were motivated, not a single negative word would he say. I think that man never got angry in his life. Always focused and was like several steps ahead of us all. Eric always saw opportunities in everything. He was an expert on that. Turned negative to positive immediately. I remember once his phone fell down in water and he fished it out and with a smile said, "I don't have to clean it now." That was the person he was. I remember also he would call me and we would talk in his office about what I wanted to do and the project status, and we could how we could make the project smoother. Then we looked out through his window and talked about the teams, project financials, the next project, the vision. And he would ask me something like, "I found this course for you. It's all about project stakeholders," or something like that. "Could be good for you. Wanna go?" I always said yes, because that was the first mountain to climb. Then he would give me a book or link to a website to read more about the course. I would look as to see with the telescope. He was so consistent in helping us all, actually. I could talk a lot about his great leadership skills, which I every day try to have with me in tech project management. Eric changed his job position, and I knew, like, coming Friday or next Friday, it will be his last day. We had like a farewell hour for him. Colleagues gathered, and we called it fika time in Swedish. At the end, he stood there while people were one by one going to shake his hand to say goodbye. In that moment, something happened. I looked around and felt something strange. And I was like looking at the people, and something happened. And I saw that there were mountains. And Eric was there. And people are going to say goodbye to him. And we are among the mountains. And Eric was Shahin, standing there with a smile and a telescope, waiting for me to say something. Tears came to my eye and coming down, and for a second I thought people may see me crying, but honestly I didn't care. And I thought, today I'm an adult, and today it's time to thank him. I stood in front of Shahin. I said, thank you. Thank you for believing in me despite my background, my strange name, my poor language. Thank you for everything you taught me. He said thank you back, and those words echoed in my mind. For me, Shahin and Eric are the very definition of leadership, guiding others with trust. As a first-time project manager leading an IT team, I didn't start out with the same mindset that Eric and Shahin had taught me. That early on, it was all about me. The project success felt tied to my performance, my requirement, my meeting, my control. I saw the project as my baby, actually. And if I had a bad day or something like that that's not working well, then everything seems to stop. It was only when I let go of this, how do I call it, the ego-driven part of me as a project manager, that the real leadership ability began to shine. When I stopped focusing on being the center of the project and started focusing on empowering my team, everything changed. I learned to inspire team to set ambition goals and to challenge the team to achieve the best results. When I focused on believing in their strength and helping them grow, everything became better, like magic. Leadership isn't about being the center of attention, in my opinion. It's about creating an environment where others thrive, and that's what Shahin and Eric did. Even in teams like in Agile, it's very common. I've seen it so many times. Teams in Agile have the autonomy to make decisions about how to accomplish their goals. Leaders focus on aligning the team with a broader vision and objective. So you, as a leader in Agile teams, you have to step back and let the team figure it out. And that stepping back and not having this sense of control becomes very difficult for many. My opinion, great leaders aren't born, they are made. One experience, lesson at a time, one mountain at a time. Thank you.
Why about a long journey to seek for safety through the mountains, one mountain at a time, believing in the destination. Ooh. 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 Why about a long journey to seek for safety through the mountains, one mountain at a time, believing in the destination.